Hey YouTube, it's BudgetBugout. So today we're going to be talking about the top 5 flipper knives, because who doesn't like flipper knives? Welcome to BudgetBugout. Hey YouTube, it's BudgetBugout. So what we're going to be talking to you about today are the 5 best flipper knives. So some of you might be thinking that the knives that I have in front of you are going to be the 5 that I end up with, but that's actually not true. These 5 are probably the 5 best knives that are flippers under $100. So this knife over here, the Zero Tolerance 0350, is closer to $100. This knife over here on the side is closer to $20, and then we got one that's closer to $40, $50, and then around $60, $70. So I have a good variety of different price knives, and then I'm going to introduce to you 3 other flipper knives that are going to be over $100, and then I will talk about what I think the 5 best overall flippers are. So for those of you who are not familiar with the flipper knife, a flipper knife is simply a knife. Let me get this in focus for y'all. It's simply a knife that it uses just that little back extension here, which is just the bottom of the blade tang, to deploy the knife. But anyways, this is known as the Kershaw Cryo. This knife, I'm going to just highlight a couple of features for each of these knives as I talk about them. It has a really good pocket clip, as far as for those of you who are concerned with you want a more of a deep carry pocket clip. This knife will really fit in your uses very well. This has a frame lock knife, so frame lock knives are known for having a better lockup and more secure of a lockup than something that's known as a liner lock. So that's something else to keep in mind. Has pretty good jimping right here. It's relatively smooth and it's not too aggressive. So for those of you who like a nice balance and you're afraid of a knife that will just eat up your hand or your fingers rather, this knife would be a good knife for you. This is an automatic opener, so just pay attention to your knife laws to make sure that that is allowed in your state. But anyways guys, this is the Kershaw Cryo. The next knife, also by Kershaw, this is known as the Kershaw Leek. This knife really needs no introduction. For those of you who are familiar with knives, this is one of the better selling knives on the market. This does not have a deep carry pocket clip, but this pocket clip is very ergonomically friendly, and it does not dig into your hand if you bear down on this knife. Something to keep in mind though is that this knife is not really meant for heavy use. It has a thinner blade, so just keep that in mind. This knife is great for everyday carry though. Another feature to highlight is that it has a safety right here, which prevents the knife from opening up in the pocket if that is something for those of you who are concerned about knives opening up in your pocket. So this is the Kershaw Leek knife. The next knife that I'll be talking to you about today is the CRKT Fossil, and this knife is new. This just came out this year. It was talked about and introduced at the SHOT Show, 2014 SHOT Show. Another thing, just a highlight for those of you who are interested, I will be going to 2015 SHOT Show. So for those of you who are going to be going, I will be there. So hope to see y'all there. But anyways, guys, this has a nice swedge on the spine of the knife. It has a good jimping right here, which really helps your thumb get a good purchase on the blade, and purchase means that good grip. It has not all of the knives have this, but the variation that I went with has what's known as VEF serrations, and I really like these serrations. It's probably one of my favorite serrated edges, and also has a good amount of plain edge as well. So I believe that's a really good balance, and pretty ergonomic. There are some hot spots due to the pocket clip, and for those of you who want to know a little bit more about my history with this knife, be sure to check out my Instagram, and I'll leave my Instagram also in the description box below. At BudgetBugout is my username. But it has a really good IKBS pivot system, which means that this knife has very smooth closing, which is a feature that you don't really see in knives of this price point. It's usually a feature that you see in knives that are over $100. The next knife that I'll be talking to you about today is the Buck Vantage Pro. This knife is one of my friends, just like the knife over there, the Kershaw Leek. These knives were difficult to get from my friends because they're such good knives, and hence them being on this table. These knives, the Buck Vantage Pro has a deep carry pocket clip. It also really easily goes into your pocket. I really like that feature about it. Doesn't really have any jimping to help you open, and it's kind of a little bit difficult to open. No jimping here either, or swedge. I really like swedges on my knives, if possible. It is liner lock, so it's not meant for a heavy use. This is more of an everyday carry knife. One of the major pros about this knife is that the blade is it has a blade steel known as S30V. And S30V is one of the premium blade steels out there. It's what's known as a super steel, so it's easy to sharpen and holds the edge very well. So for the price that you get this at, which is close to around $60–70, you get a blade steel that you usually don't find in knives that are less than $100. Speaking of knives that are $100, is the Zero Tolerance 0350. This is also an automatic knife, and this knife has S30V steel as well. Just had a little bit of a fiber coming out there. Oops, sorry guys. But this has a liner lock, so just something to keep in mind. I used to prefer liner locks to frame locks, so it just really depends on your preference. It does have a nice wedge here on the back. It also has a good amount of jimping right here as well. I really like the finger groove right here. It helps us make this knife become really ergonomic. It also has jimping right here on the bottom for reverse grip. I don't really like these serrations, so it really is, everyone has their own preferences, but this is not one of my favorite serrations. So if you guys have a choice, if you're trying to decide between plain edge 0350 and a combo edge, so I would really go with the plain edge. I really like the tiger stripe pattern though. I really like it a lot. So anyways guys, this is the 0350 knife. So now I'm going to show you all a few more knives that are going to be a little bit pricier. So this next knife is by Benchmade, and this is the 0300 SN. This knife has a great blade shape. I really like the blade shape. It has a pseudo swedge, is what I'm going to be calling it. The cutting surface on this is one of the best, in my opinion. I mean, it's so easy to cut things with this knife, including fingers, so I'm going to keep my thumb away from that for the meanwhile. It has a little bit of jimping right here. The handle material is very grippy, however, the design is not ergonomic. Some of my friends, whenever I gave them this knife, as you can see, like, it has 3 finger grooves, but then the pinky can't really hold on to it very well, which is very unfortunate because this knife is so buttery smooth and so fun to play with. You can flip it open and then easily bring it back closed. There are people this is their favorite knife, but what I was trying to say earlier is that my friends, they tried this knife, and whenever they tried to grip it and tried to continue to get a better grip on it, they told me that they hated it and that it actually made them angry. So this knife I would not put in the top 5, needless to say. Next knife that I'll be talking to you about, I would put this at the top of many lists, and this is the Zero Tolerance 0561. It's one of the best tactical knives, folding knives out there. This is, I think I said Zero Tolerance, right? This is one of the best flippers out there. Just a great design. It was based in part on the design of the XM18, which is one of the more popular custom knives out there, and this knife really does it justice for sure. I will have to say that. Very smooth opening, very smooth closing. This is not an automatic knife, but just a great design. I'm trying to shake it close. See how smooth it opens, and how now it's not listening to me. How smoothly it closes, but yet it doesn't. You can't shake it open unless you give it a lot of force. That's something that a lot of knife people don't really realize, is that first off, there's different ways you can open different knives, but a knife shouldn't be able to be shaken open, but it's really awesome when it can be smoothly closed. Anyways, I'm getting too hung up on one aspect of this knife. Has a great jimping right here. It really digs in, but it's not overly aggressive. It has plenty of room as well for bearing down. The fact that it has such a huge choil means that if you were to stab this into something, that your fingers wouldn't go past this choil, therefore cutting them at all. So you could really jab this really hard into something, hopefully not someone, but something, and you would be just fine. You'd be able to hold on to this knife. You might know that it's slicker on this side than it is on here, and that's because this side has texturing, and this side makes it slicker, but so it can be easier to put in and take out of the pocket. This also has a deep carry pocket clip, and the pocket clip is designed in such a manner that it's very easy to slide into the pocket, but it doesn't really slide out very easily without you wanting it to come out. I really like also this little groove right here, where you can push against it really easily without having to worry about tearing up your thumb tip. So this is the Zero Tolerance 0561. Also has a lanyard hole right here, real big, big enough for a paracord if you'd like. The next knife that I'll be talking to you about is the Spyderco Domino. The Spyderco Domino is also in the 200. The knife I just showed you is just shy of 200. This knife is too. Both of these knives are an investment. So for those of you who are not familiar with knives, you might not necessarily see the value of them, but for those of us who are familiar with knives, we know how great an investment these knives are. This knife has a nice little finger groove right here, making it real ergonomically friendly, but you can also choke up on it as well if you need to do finer, more detailed everyday carry type of tasks. Has nice jimping right here in the back. Also has jimping right here on the finger choil, and the pocket clip is designed not necessarily to make it easy to go into a pocket, but it basically has hardly any hot spots as well. So that is one of the pros about this. This knife was sent to me courtesy of knifehog.com. I'll be leaving a link for them in the description box below, as well as a discount code that y'all can go and use that discount code to get better deals on some of the knives out there. So with all of these knives that I mentioned, what are the top 5? What I would do is, because based on my personal experience, the little hang-ups that I've had with this knife, I would take this one out. I'd also take out the Buck Vantage Pro, just because it's not as ergonomically friendly as the other knives, and I would put in the following knives, and those would be my top 5 overall picks. For those of you who would like to leave a comment in the description box below to tell me what you guys think, I'd really be open to any and all feedback. I also encourage any sort of questions for those of you who are newer to knives, and also be sure to check out the link in the description box below as well. As you can see, that these knives that have made it in the overall top 5, they're all, except for one exception, Kershaw knives. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Kershaw knives, be sure to check them out. Zero tolerance, I don't know if I mentioned, those are also Kershaw's. They're just the military and law enforcement line of Kershaw knives. Anyways guys, this has been Budget Bugout's top 5 flipper knives. Y'all have a great day and stay safe out there, and remember, it pays to be prepared. God bless.